Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 107.7 and 105.3 FM, New Orleans. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to have a fellow UPRN host on the show today. I was on his show and it was such a great time hanging out, so I invited him onto my show. So tonight we are welcoming Shawn Kelly from Into the Night back. I'm just going to read you his bio and then we're going to bring him in. Back in 2006, after a trip to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Shawn went on a ghost tour and instantly got hooked into the paranormal. March of 2006, he started the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, and for 16 years, he investigated over 1,000 places and homes. November 22nd, 2022, he retired from the paranormal and now hosts Into the Night with Shawn Kelly, Sunday and Tuesday nights from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. on UPRN Talk Radio, and 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. His motto: since 2006, I will respect what you believe, and I will respect what you believe. We're going to welcome Shawn Kelly to the show.
Hey, Carrie.
Hi, my friend.
How are you, girl? God Almighty, I'm all excited. Just got me some goosebumps here, some spirit, some spirit energy stuff. Like,
do you have that happen on your show? Like where spirit will show up unexpectedly? I've had that a couple of times.
Oh yeah. Cindy, who just popped into the room. Hello, everybody. But Cindy, who popped into the room, would actually, she saw a couple of shows where my circle light would actually go off and on.
Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's how spirit, but no, God, look. Spidey senses. They're just like
truth bumps, goosebumps. And I text you before. You got your party pants on? Are you ready?
Yes, I do. I even got my pineapple shirt on. This is my lucky shirt.
Oh, that's funny. That's so funny.
I got my pineapple shirt. So
thanks for joining us, Cindy. Thanks for being here. Kathy, hello.
Michelle.
Hi, my friend. Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much, Contessa. I appreciate you being here. I don't know if everyone, understands or realizes that, it's not just the paranormal, that you've been intuitive and sensitive to spirits from the time you were little, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have.
So it's, the paranormal must have, I don't know. Tell me, what was that like, as a kid and having experiences and moving into an adulthood and then into investigations?
Well, when growing up, I sensed that there was people around, and I got something really, because when I was in school, the palm of my hands, was circle, and it was really white in my palms, right? And I was thinking, because I went to a Catholic school, and I'm thinking, why are these? And automatically I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I was in a Catholic school, so I'm thinking, this, God, Jesus being hung up on the thing. And I couldn't figure out what was it all about. And so this is how I was through grade school and high school. I would see my grandmother, I would see other people, but I really could not express what I felt to my mom and dad, because that was voodoo back then. Okay. Right. That wasn't accepted. But my real, I would say, when I jumped both feet into this spirit world and the metaphysical and all that, psychic, was back in 1983. I was on an island called Diego Garcia. I was in the Navy. And I was taking a drug called Antabuse. And Antabuse is supposed to wean you off alcohol, right? Okay. And so I had it in my system for a year. Now, you couldn't use no type of alcohol, nothing like that. I mean, you couldn't drink, you couldn't use aftershave lotion, nothing. And then one day I got really depressed on the island, and I drank a whole fifth of Jack Daniels. And when I got back on the ship, I literally actually died. Okay, I died in the medical unit. Um, and when I came back, the doctor who was on the ship was like kind of shocked. She said, "We thought we lost you." Okay. Well, what happened, Carrie, was when I came back, I started to see things, hear things, and feel things that weren't there. Okay.
That
Um,
weren't there for other people.
I guess they were. It was like seeing ghosts.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I heard talking in the back of my head and smelling all kinds of different smells. And I literally thought I was going crazy. I really, really did. I went to a Catholic priest. I went to ministers. I went to Baptist preachers. Um, Anybody that would listen to my story. And they had no answer for me, hon. They didn't have an answer.
Right.
And so I lived with it. So eventually, what happened was I kind of just didn't bother with it, you know. And then when I got married in 1990, well, I was married in 87, but in 1990, somebody asked me if I could do a Ouija board session with them, you know. I said, sure, not a problem. And that's when it took off. One day after an AA meeting, I've been sober 33 years. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm proud
Oh,
of it.
you shouldn't be. You should be
No,
proud to say that.
I am. So after a meeting, I went into a bookstore, okay, to have a cup of coffee with the owner. And what happened was she asked me if I could do her cards for her. You know, she gave me a reading, and I just said, "Can I do a reading for you?" And I did, and it blew her away. You know, and then she gave me another deck, and and I read her again, and then all of a sudden, that's how I got into the metaphysical field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She introduced me to people, you know, and I worked with different teachers and stuff like that.
And
And
had support, like built a community.
I had a lot of support. There was a lot of support in that. And so after that, I was in her bookstore again. And I don't know, have you ever heard of Black Elk? He was a Lakota Sioux shaman, and he wrote a book. And I was standing there, and it literally, and I mean, jumped off the shelf. It literally landed in my hands. And ladies and gentlemen out there, that happens. It honest to God happens. And I started reading. And then they had meditations that he would do, and I meditated and meditated and meditated and meditated, and then followed the Lakota Sioux spirituality, you know, and life became weird, okay, because it just seems like that my gifts were expanding, they were going up,
Right.
you know. And I'll be honest with you and your people out there, I had an ego about myself when I started doing it
Mm.
because I thought, man, look at me go. Hell, I'm this good, blah, blah, blah.
Spirit kicks you in the arse
It,
when your ego
oh,
gets a little too big, though.
oh, it did. Oh my God, you just don't know. I mean, Spirit knocked me in the butt like
Yeah.
about 5 or 6 different times. And so I went to Gettysburg, um, and that's when I fell in love with the paranormal.
Mm.
Hmm.
I think that, you know, I grew up in Northern Ontario, and there was an older Indigenous man that I had connected with when I was just sort of coming out of the witchy woo closet, you know, really saying that I had these gifts from the time I was little and
Hmm.
felt like it was time for me to do these things. And he said to me to be mindful that a lot of people who are sensitive to the spirit world, if they don't learn how to have balance in all areas, um, become alcoholics or have addictions, self-numb, all those sorts of things. And he warned me very early on my journey to be mindful of how I process all of those big emotions, and my personal healing journey, that I'm focused on my personal healing journey so that it didn't get out of hand. So kudos to you for, taking ownership of your healing journey and,
Hmm.
you know,
Thank you. That,
allowing that, because I do believe that the more that we take accountability
hmm.
for our journey, we can tap in on a much deeper
Right,
level and
right.
receive on a deeper level.
But here was my problem with the whole situation. Okay, um, I wasn't a very friendly person.
Oh,
Okay, I wasn't friendly. I was mean.
I'm not
I
laughing at you. I'm shocked because I don't know that person.
No, I don't want nobody to know it. I don't want nobody to know it. I was mean. And whenever I worked with Spirit, Spirit just kept giving me my gifts. It just seemed like it kept going and going. Started to see things more clearly. The high rate of energy just kept going, and I'm saying to myself, and I'm saying it to people who were close to me, I said, why is God giving me all this stuff? Why is Spirit giving me this more energy? Why? I was a bad person. I really, honest to God, was. And then somebody said something to me one day, and they said, if you look, and me and the Bible don't get along, but there's some things in there that I kind of like address myself to my situation. Is that they said, look at the 12 apostles. They were killers. They were rapists. You know what I mean? They were all bad
Mhm.
people. She said, look at it like that. And that's what I did. And, um, and
I
then
think
what,
that we can teach differently and we can mentor differently
right,
when we have
exactly.
been through it. Like
Hmm.
when we can say, this is the journey that I took, and this is the place that I'm teaching from. And I mean, when I look back at who I was uh 17, 18 years ago, I am not that person at all anymore. But at the same time, I'm so very grateful to who I was back then, for all of the burdens that they carried, the lessons that they agreed to, and then the healing that they allowed. Like,
Right.
even though I'm like talking to about myself in third person, but I mean, I look back and that's a whole different person, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of those hard experiences, because I know that I come with authenticity, integrity. I know where my moral compass is aligned, and
Hmm.
the way that I'm working with now. So, from what I'm hearing from you, it's the same with you, like where you were and to where you are now, and how you choose to move forward, right?
Exactly. Now, I would not only being, doing readings, I'm very empathic. I'm really, really empath. And when that first started, I would take everybody's feelings on. I would take all their,
Mm.
and that just destroyed me. I was like, oh my God. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's overwhelming.
why am I mean, I could go into a room and felt like I was being smothered. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I had a problem with that. But eventually down the road, you know, um, I kind of dealt with it. So a lot of
So do you
things
have
that,
tips for anybody? Do you have tips for any of the people that are listening who are empathic, on how to um, protect, balance, ground? How did you move through that? Is there anything that you can give them for guidance that way?
yes, there was a couple things that I did. I do a meditation. What I would do is I put a real big bright ball of light energy at the bottom of my foot, and I would just bring it over my body from the ground up. And then I would imagine two golden ropes, thick ropes, and wrap them around myself.
Oh, that's
You know,
lovely.
yes. And also, if it was a little too intense, I would just leave. I would have to go. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And because I couldn't be in that situation because it was just affecting me.
But that's part of the spiritual awareness or conscious awareness as well too, like giving yourself permission to walk away from things that
Hmm.
maybe aren't in your highest good, or how to have healthier boundaries, or speak your truth. And it's not anything reflective necessarily about those people, just where you are at that point in time, and that's okay too. Like, all the feelings are valid.
Exactly. Um, but what I just wanted people to leave me alone. You
Mm.
know, I really
Oh yeah.
did. I
I know.
wanted to leave you alone. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
wow, Shawn. It was just like the energy was like spewing out of me. And ladies and gentlemen, when I talk like that, I'm not being egotistical. I'm being very, very humble when I say this stuff
Mhm.
because if I wasn't being humble, Carrie would tell me and boot me off the show.
I would not be on the show. I
And
would not. I would not, my friend.
but people would just like flock to me, strangers off the street. Still happens
Mhm.
today. They come
Yeah.
up and they want to tell you your life story, and just being around you and you know that they feel comfortable. Now here's a biggie: animals. Okay,
Mm.
I remember I dated a girl who had a black and white cat. Her name was Inky, and Inky hated men.
The
Inky,
cat.
the cat.
Yeah.
And the first time I met Inky, she just sat under my legs and was right there, and everyone was like, "Oh, crazy!" I mean, it's like, "Oh my God, Inky likes you. Inky likes you," and that's with every animal, hon. Um, I don't know. Do you experience something like that with you? Just
Yeah. And I feel that a lot of us that are empathic, we tend to gravitate to the animals that are in the room, so that we can hang out with the animals and not necessarily the people. And animals are connected to the spirit world and connect so intensely. So you have someone saying thank you for the interview. Love you, Shawn. So that's awesome.
no.
Spin beings also.
That's my
Dylan.
buddy Elsa down in Australia. Yeah.
Michelle is saying we love your honesty.
Thank you. Thank you.
Howie from the Orion Effect with the Rift Nation. You guys need to check out the Rift Nation. They've got a lot of excellent shows and hosts over on that network. He's saying, Shawn, we both are artists back then. You're not alone, and I think it's part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's part of the journey. And Denise Smith, lovely. Thank you so much, Denise, for being here. Animals are good, people not so much. Denise is
Exactly.
very sensitive as well too. So Denise also, speaks from experience and understanding,
Ah, awesome.
empathic. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But it is interesting how animals gravitate to us and
Yes, exactly. Yes.
support us. But do you get spirit animals that will come in as well too, like animals
Oh,
that are crossed over?
yeah. I never really had any pets. Okay, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, Never had no pets. I had an English bulldog back when I was like about 6 or 7. His name was Winston Churchill. He
Oh
was a
my
great.
gosh, all the way around, my favorite. Oh my gosh, all the way around. I love Winston Churchill. The only thing I got from my grandma, which I got to choose, so I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to sound like I was being greedy or anything. But the one thing that I wanted from my grandma after she passed was her Winston Churchill cookie tin, and I still have it. And my kids all like want a sticky note it saying, "When mom dies, it's mine." They all are fighting over the Winston Churchill cookie tin already.
Ain't that pretty?
Yeah, and
That's
so
pretty.
I hijacked that comment on you. I'm so sorry.
You know what? You can hijack any comments on me. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it, hon.
Yeah, let's bring this up. So always, Howie, I am so grateful for the support and the friendship that you gift me. So this is part of what we're going to talk about. Shawn and I talked about as well too, is paranormal unity, and what does it mean to really support everybody and not be in
Hmm.
competition, and teach people and educate people. And I don't know everything. I feel like a little baby most of the time, kind of floundering around. So I'm grateful that I have other people helping me where, I'm needing to learn still.
Absolutely.
Cindy Simpson is saying, Shawn has really helped me on my life path. I love my animals, 4 cats and 3 dogs. Oh my gosh. You are
Thank
my
you, Cindy.
hero because I don't know. This perimenopausal lady sitting here is struggling with her 2 dogs, and I love them. We just need to get through some hormonal stuff so we're back in a good place.
That's why. That's
If we're
why.
being honest tonight.
Yes, that's when men that have gifts, like, yeah, let's just stay away. That's one good thing about having a gift of empath. You can feel other people's feelings, and
Yeah.
I mean, I just have to take one glance at you, honey, and I'll be like, oh, take it easy. I'll be right back. Give me a week, and I'll be back.
Take a deep
But
breath.
yes, and it's like,
Spin being so Elsa Dillon is saying animal orbs, they ease into it. I
yes,
agree.
yes. Elsa's good people, man. She is really nice person. But I got to share this story with you.
Okay.
Um, I wanted to be normal again.
But what's normal?
I,
What did
I
you feel normal was?
not knowing that ghosts exist, and
Oh,
didn't care if ghosts exist, didn't care if demons existed. I didn't. I wanted to be that.
right.
Okay, I wanted to go
Sleepwalking.
whatever. I wanted to go on a normal date.
Oh,
Okay, and I
I
told this
feel
girl,
that.
and a girl told this girl,
Yeah.
we are not going to talk about ghosts. We are not going to talk about spirits. She said, no problem, not a problem, not a problem.
Yeah.
And so we go to a restaurant here. We sit down, got a piece of pie, had a cup of coffee, and not 10 minutes later, she got a text from her grandmother saying, can you please come home? And it was only a 10-minute thing. She had to go home for her grandma wasn't doing too good. Right.
Right.
And I was mad. I wasn't mad at her. I was mad at spirit.
Mm.
Okay. And I'm not afraid to say today that who I was saying I was mad at was God. I'm not afraid to say that today, you know.
Right.
And I was so mad at him. I was cussing him out. I've cussed, the big man upstairs, God, whoever, and cussing him, and saying, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? What's my purpose? And I said it on the way home. I said it right before I went to bed, and at exactly midnight, I get a phone call. It was a client of mine telling me about the spirit, the ghost that's in her house. And I said, okay, click. 12:30, another call came. Another call came at 1 o'clock. Another call came at 1:30, and the last call came at 2 o'clock. Every half hour. And then I said, okay, this is my purpose.
Being
In
of
life.
service.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then I didn't get no phone calls after that.
Funny, eh?
It's
I have
crazy.
I have a similar story. Contessa is just sharing. It's a great time for this kind of friendships because today so many people are more open with their own experiences.
Yes.
I agree with that. And Claire is just sharing. I moved to the country. All of the critters seem to hang out here. I really can relate.
It's nice to hear, Claire.
I had
Contessa,
an
thank you.
interesting experience too because I really I started off doing hair. Like I was a hairstylist and
Mm-hmm.
I started getting more people talking about, their loved ones that were crossed over. And I was pushing against doing any of this stuff. And
Good.
yeah, so I just had more and more people asking. And so I kind of got where the kick in the rump happened, right? So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm really supposed to do this, I want so many people to call, to
Mm-hmm.
let me know that they're wanting a session or so that I know that this is what you're really wanting me to do. And then in my head, I was looking at, what sort of money would I make from that? And then I
Mm-hmm.
had all of those people cancel.
Yeah. Yes.
All of
Yes.
them.
Yes.
All of them. As
Yes.
soon as I made it about the money, and I only did it once, right at the very beginning, like a very long time ago, right at the very
Right.
beginning. So,
Yes. I
yeah,
mean,
17
it's
years ago, 17 years ago. And then
wow.
when I understood that it really is being of service for something greater than ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
we're just the in between, and um understanding that our needs will be met when we're being of service, if we're trusting and just working from that place of unconditional love and not making it about ego. So
Right. No, no, you're exactly right. And oh, hi, Gary. Good to see you, my friend. That's my buddy, Gary. He comes and he's a good dude.
thanks for
Um,
joining us tonight.
and, and then once as I started to, feel a little better, I got real humble.
Mm.
I sat on my porch one day at night and I talked to Spirit and I was saying to him, what's going on? I'm like, talk to me, please tell me what's going on.
Mm.
And I heard one word, and that was humbleness.
Mm.
That was it. That was it. Um, to be humble.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I started. So for me being humble, right, it wasn't me telling the people what's
That's right.
going on in their life. It was Spirit telling me to
Yeah.
tell them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And so it really dropped me down a couple pegs, in my egotistical brain at the time. He says, you got
Right.
to get humble, and then I accepted that. It was really crazy. It was an ease crossover for that, from being egotistical into being very humble. It
Mm.
was easy for me. I know there's a lot of people out there that have a hard time being humble, and especially in today's world, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But and
Yeah. Mm.
ever since that day, hon, and no matter what I did, the paranormal investigating, the psychic work, sensitive work, whatever's called upon me to do,
Right.
I don't take the credit.
Yeah.
It's like Spirit did it. You know what I mean?
And even with, if we're doing energetic healing, the client is the one allowing the healing to happen.
Right.
Again, it's not us doing it. We're letting it flow through us to that client, and they're the
Mm-hmm.
ones allowing it. So it's coming from a very different place, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it took a
El-
long time. What's he say?
Elsa is just sharing, not about the messenger, about the message. So true. Agree totally. And my newest sweet friend, Julie Krause, spiritual advisor, who has been on the show. If you look in
Hi,
the
Julie.
archives through YouTube or SoundCloud, you will find Julie's segment. She's just saying happy Friday and hello to us both. Thank you for
Hi,
being here,
Julie.
Julie.
Hi, everybody. That's cool. But yeah. So, and I'll tell you what, everybody, you got to hook Carrie Lynn up for a reading, man. She's freaking good, dude. She is
Thanks.
very, very good, man. She hit names that nobody knows, and I don't know. It got to hit her up. You know what I mean? And
Thank you.
I can guarantee it will be a very, very honest and open reading. Trust me. Trust me on
Thank
that.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Kim. Kim is just saying yes, she is. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was it about the ghost hunting experience in Gettysburg that hooked you in to want to shift into doing paranormal investigations?
Okay.
Because it's very different doing sessions and receiving information and doing paranormal investigations. They're two different worlds.
Right. Well, how I really got into it was I went to Gettysburg and I went on one of them ghost tours that they have going through the city, through the town of Gettysburg, and I took a little Polaroid camera with me, that the ones that you buy off the shelves, And I started snapping pictures. Okay. Because they say bring a camera with you. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'll go buy one. And so I went and bought one and I was snapping pictures. And I was up there for 3 days. You have to do a 3 day trip up to Gettysburg. You can't just do it in one day, it's impossible. There's so much up there. But so I was really excited to get my pictures back. Went and going like this, and not a damn thing, honey. Not a damn orb, not even a little mist. And
And
I was,
that's more the norm.
yeah, well, back then for me, I
Yeah.
wanted the full blown apparition,
Right.
and I was like, but when I went on the tour and I heard the stories, all of a sudden, with me being spiritual, and empathic, I felt the spirits. I
Right.
felt the soldiers. I felt the people who lived in Gettysburg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There were times that I actually heard gunfire. Fire.
Yeah.
It's a little place called Little Round Top. Check it out. Google it. Little
Tell
Round
me
Top.
again.
Little Round Top.
Okay.
LA. Yeah, Gettysburg. And so I was down there, and all of a sudden I'm sitting on a stone because I mean, being empath, you really need to grind yourself before you go on that battlefield. Seriously, it's just
Mm.
interest. And what happened was I started sniffing the air, and it smelled like gunfire, gun smoke, gunpowder. And then I heard like whispers and screaming. Like I'm like, holy shit, what's going on here? And it was like, wow, the fight was around me,
Right.
but they were doing it as they were in spirit. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. I
Um,
understand.
it was like, I wanted to go. I was getting overpowered and overbumped, not by
Right.
the spirits, but the energy. But something kept me there. It's like you ain't moving, dude. You're hanging right here. And that's what started it right there and then. I came back home to Gettysburg. Then there's this thing called Meetup.com, and I
Right.
got on there, and that's when I started Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, March 6th, 2006.
That's awesome.
And when we
See,
first, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have questions.
Okay, okay,
I've
okay,
always got lots of questions.
okay.
Were you interested in like historical places prior to going to Gettysburg?
Not
No?
at all. Not at all.
Really, eh?
No.
I've always loved history and historical places. And when I started doing Dining with the Dead events, like a long time ago, I
Right.
was choosing restaurants that had some kind of historical background,
Mm-hmm.
or because it just felt even more amped up in those places.
Right.
Um, to do those sorts of events and deliver messages. So historical places. And the other question I was thinking of as you were sharing your story was talking about grounding before you're going on to any sort of battlefield. Did
Mm-hmm.
you know about grounding before you went on?
No. 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 Not at all. Not at all. I was like, whoa, this is like totally intense. And I had nobody I could talk to. And there was
That's
nobody.
the hard part.
Yes. And I even went to one of them metaphysical stores out there, and I was telling them, what was happening to me, and she didn't have an answer. And I'm saying to myself,
Oh,
well, why do you have a
you do. You
metaphysical?
feel isolated. I had an experience that was very out there, and I was emailing people. I was asking people for support or help, and I got zero. It's why I am so focused on supporting people that ask me now, because I didn't get that when I was starting out.
Yes, it's so true, hon. And I had nobody.
Gary is your friend Gary is sharing. My cousin was just on the Queen Mary and took a couple of pictures in a hallway and got an apparition of a lady in a dress in her picture. That's awesome.
Hey, if I send you some pictures, can you put them up?
I can try. I don't know really how, but we can walk through it. We can try it.
We can try it. Okay.
Are you able to share from where you are too, though? You should be able to share
I
too.
don't know how to do it.
Oh, we'll try. You send it to me, and I don't know. We'll try.
All right. All right.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to try and do something new. Julie is sharing. We are planning a trip there soon. I'm a little nervous of how intense it may feel.
You
Do
know
you
what,
have?
Jolie? Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
do. Jolie, just go in it like you just going on a vacation. Okay. Uh, from my experience and with other people who actually went there, if you go in and you have it set in your mind that you are nervous about the spirit activity there, then it's really going to affect you, hon. It really will. If you could just go in and just do your thing, because with you being a spiritual advisor, I'm sure you have some really hardcore
Yeah.
protective spirit guides on you, and I'm guaranteed they would not let nobody hurt you, Joel. So just go in and enjoy the trip. Not only is it good for it's great for the spiritual part of it, but there's a lot of history behind that place
Mm.
too, about the war, where it came from, the Confederates, and
Do
you're
you
well,
find that the spirits in Gettysburg are the majority of them residual and it's just something that's playing out, or are many interactive? Because that's very different to experience as
okay, yeah.
yeah,
On the battlefield, it's all residual.
right.
In the town, it's all residual. And what we mean by residual, everybody, is that it's like a broken record. It's like a record just going back and forth. Like you could be standing there
Right.
on the street and you'll see a ghost come right through you and walk right through you.
Right.
And 3 hours later, or maybe, I'm sorry, half hour later, right, that spirit will come through you again. And he would not know that you were standing there,
Right.
because they're they are stuck in that time in 1863, the July 1st or the 3rd. And what it is, okay, and this is how that works. Why you get a lot of energy up there in Gettysburg. May I share?
Please do. Please do.
Okay. Is okay. So you have all these bunch of these young kids that come up from south and the north. The war broke out there, right? The war was there, and then all of a sudden, okay. So I'm a Union soldier. Carrie Lynn's a Confederate soldier. So I point a gun at Carrie Lynn, and you know for a fact that you're going to die. So every ounce of energy that you have inside your body, fear, anger, scared, all those feelings that you got are going to become one big solid ball of energy.
Right.
And so when you die, that energy stays. It doesn't dissipate in the air.
Right.
Hmm.
I always say it's like the silly putty when you push it on a newspaper print and it leaves an imprint on it. There's so much energy in one spot, it's leaving that same sort of
Exactly.
imprint.
Exactly.
Um, Claire is just asking, do you feel the spirit when they go through you?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Do you find that we all experience it differently? Because you watch movies and movies play it out one way. Like, I forget the one, he sneezes every time a spirit would go through him, he would sneeze.
Hmm.
Everybody feels it differently. How do
Okay.
you experience it?
I see him coming, and when it goes through me, I get my spidey senses kicking in. You
Right.
know what I mean? Yeah, my spidey they rise up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that it's okay to see, like, everyone is going to experience what it feels like when they go through them. Or when you
Exactly.
move through spirit energy is going to be unique to each individual. And so
Exactly.
don't discount your experience, but take note of it so that when it happens consistently, you see the pattern and you can identify what it is that you're experiencing.
Right. Right.
Contessa's just asking, would you say that the soldiers are stuck in that time frame?
Yes, yes, Contessa, they are. They are stuck in 1863. Um,
So if they're stuck, then is that a level of intelligence and not necessarily an imprint?
okay, can you please rephrase that for me, hon?
Yeah, no, yeah, me too, because I'm confused too.
No, the question you just said.
Yeah. So Contessa's asking if the soldiers are stuck in the war time, but it's the imprint that is stuck at that time frame of the war, not
Yes,
necessarily an intelligent person. It's the imprint of that
it's the
experience
imprint.
in that
Yes,
moment is what's replaying in that time period. So, and do
but
you find like the spirits that are earthbound feel energetically different when you tap into them? Like for
oh my
me, it
God,
feels
yes,
very
absolutely,
different. And again, experience,
absolutely,
right? Can you
absolutely.
explain how that would feel different for you?
Um, well, the earthbound spirits, okay, it's like shaking their hand. You know what I mean? They're just like right there talking to me, blah blah blah, the whole 9 yards. But the ones that are on another dimension, okay, I don't get the same feeling. It's um, like if you put a residual in front of me would I be up in Gettysburg, I don't feel that attachment to them. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel
Yeah.
it's like an energy that's over here somewhere.
Yeah.
I see them, but the energy's over here to where I
Yeah.
got an earthbound spirit. Okay, then I can feel the energy. I can see them. That spirit can see me, and I
Yeah.
have interaction with them.
And personally, I find those spirits that are earthbound, um, the energy feels more like walking through mud. It's not, um, yeah, I don't know. It's heavier. Like the spirits that are transitioned and fully crossed over and choose
Hmm.
to come back to interact
Yes.
are
Hmm.
light. It's easy to connect with. The messages
Hmm.
come really fast. Those spirits that are um, earthbound stuck for whatever reason, their own fear, belief system, tragic circumstances, whatever
Right.
those, it's like slogging through mud. You can feel it's just heavier and
Yes.
takes a little bit more work, like therapy. They are needing therapy
Mm.
to work through their
Yeah.
issues, right?
It's, but it's true. It's
Yeah,
true. And the answer Jennifer's question,
yeah,
will they ever be able to move on? Jennifer, and I'm glad you brought up that question because I was going to bring it up. See, when you die, right? When you die, even in death, you still have free will.
yes,
Okay, you still have free will when you
yeah,
die. So, when in my experience and what I've been experienced for a lot of years, is that when somebody dies, the light opens up. It just opens up. So you have a choice. Do you want to go to the light or do you want to stay on earth?
yeah,
A lot of spirits stay on earth because there are some things that need to take care of.
yeah.
Okay. First of all, sometimes most of the spirits don't even know that they're dead. Okay.
This
Because it
is
happens
true.
so fast. Second of all, say like me and Carrie Lynn are married, right? And we did everything together for like 30, 40 years. We never left each
Yeah,
other's side. She was my best friend. I'm her best friend.
yeah,
And I die, right? And she just can't understand the fact that I'm gone.
yeah.
And she's lonely and she's tired and she misses me the whole 9 yards. You're okay with this scenario, aren't you? You are,
Oh yeah, I would
okay,
be sad. It would be a gaping hole in my heart, Sean.
right. Do you honest to God think I would leave you?
No.
No.
And
So,
I had a beautiful, not a beautiful, it was beautiful. Their love was beautiful, but that scenario of an older gentleman, he actually fell off a ladder.
ooh,
I know. And he was in his 80s. He was the primary caregiver for his spouse. And, when I told him and did that counseling with him that if he crossed over, he could come back and still watch over her in a different way, but be
right.
lighter and, you know,
Hmm.
um, encouraging that, but it's very true. Are those big emotions, fear that others won't do well without us, if we transition over, can
But
prevent us from.
here's the big one. Okay. All our lives when we were growing up, okay, you were always taught that if you commit a sin,
Oh,
you're going to hell. Okay. And you got to think, all these people who died at an old age, stuff like that, that was drilled into their heads that they're going to die and they're going to go to hell because they committed a sin.
yeah,
So when you die, they think, okay, if I go into that light, I'm going to hell.
yeah.
So they stay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that fear-based sort of dogma is shifting and changing, where people
I
are
hope so
having
too.
more conversations.
Right. Everything all right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you
okay.
you didn't send me a picture though, right?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Do you
Okay.
know who I
Well,
asked to help me was Laura Lee Potvin from Angel Rock and the Thing at the Foot of the Bed. So Angel Rock on Mondays with UPRN, and the Thing at the Foot of the Bed with David Hansel on Thursdays. She's been so good at kind of helping me maneuver through
she's a good girl.
learning how to do this with a little bit more grace and ease and less fear.
Right. I like her. She's a lot of fun. She
Yeah.
helped me out many. In fact, she was the only one that actually welcomed me to UPRN Talk Radio. When I came on board.
She's got a very big heart.
Oh my God, she's wonderful, man.
She is
She's a wonderful
wonderful and
person.
genuine. Contessa is just sharing, I was brought up that way, and it was stressful when I was a child. I wasn't brought up necessarily I wasn't brought up in a strict, organized religious background at all. I didn't have that. And it was interesting because I kind of grew up in the middle of a whole bunch of townships in the middle of nowhere. And we had a community hall, and some of the ladies from the community gave Sunday school services for us kids. And it was like stories and songs, and we would do concerts for the community at the holidays and hand out, Easter lilies to the older ladies in the community at the holiday. And it was great. It was a sense of community and getting together, but there was no focus on, sin and going to hell. It wasn't like that at all. And then there was this beautiful, and she was, I believe, she was a nun, so she had to have been Catholic, correct? She used to come into the public school, and we could sign up for her class, and she would come in and just tell Bible stories, but she was the most lovely person ever. We all loved her. And we would just listen to her Bible stories. And it was about being good and being part of the community and treating people how you want to be treated. We never really got a lot of that. Helen.
I've sent you a picture, hon.
Okay.
I've sent you a picture. Okay. It's not letting me send no more.
Well, let's give it a try. Yep. I saw it on my phone, so let me see if I can figure out how to do it.
So everybody, I was curious trying to figure it out. A little bit about me. My show is called Into the Night with Shawn Kelly. I am on Sunday nights, Tuesday nights, from 8:10 to 9:10 on UPRN Talk Radio 105.3, New Orleans 107.7, Mississippi. My Sunday night show is a relaxation show. It's just a relax, sit back, whatever you want to talk about, we talk about it, nothing extraordinary. But on my Tuesday night show, that's a different story. That's when I get into the nitty and gritty of things. It's not it's not, I don't talk about paranormal all the time. I do go into the cryptids, and every now and then I'll go into conspiracy theory. Um, but please,
Shawn, you
if you
had a
can,
great show last week. It was about, wasn't it Boris Koloff and Karloff and
yeah, my friend Brian Hogue,
yeah.
yeah, it was about old time actors with the old time horror movies, and that was a pretty good show. But if anybody, if you guys, Brian knows, that comes from Gary does come to my show on my shows, and so does Cindy Simpson. So please come on over, and sit back. And if you want to be a guest on my show, you are more than welcome. You can send Carrie Lynn a message if she'll accept it. You can also send me a message on the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page. And also
Okay.
like,
I'm not sure
and
how well this is going to work.
oh, let's keep our fingers crossed.
There has to be a different way to.
Uh, but that's okay. So the picture that I'm sending her to, that she has, and God bless if she can get it up because it's a pretty interesting picture. Is a We were in a cemetery, and one of my group members, she was just using her cell phone, and she got a full blown apparition in there. Let's say, come on, let's work. Come on, Carrie Lynn, come on, Spirit, give us a new raw, you know. Okay, but there, that could be it. Is that it? Does it come up? There it is. Okay,
There we go.
okay, everybody. If you look at your picture, and I know it's dark, look over to the left hand side of that picture, and you're going to see a man there. You see a man that it's a human man. It has like a gray coat on. That is the spirit right there.
Oh. Wait.
So Denise Mitch says she spotted it.
Yeah, to the left hand side. I'm just not sure how to make it, if there's a way of making it a bit bigger.
I don't know, but
I'm gonna try.
no, we're doing
We're gonna try.
it's okay, and hopefully I can get one more for you. Nah,
Okay.
maybe later on we can do it because I'm really excited for being on your show. So everybody out
Where
there in the
was
chat,
that taken? Where was this
what's
picture taken?
at Grove Cemetery in New Brighton, PA. Kim Stewart says, I see it too. I turned my phone sideways and could see it better.
Oh. Well, we just have to say that's a win for me in figuring that all out by myself like a big girl
And I'm so proud of
without
you.
help.
I'm so proud of you.
We just had to take a deep breath and jump in.
So, Joanne says he looks totally alive. Cindy Simpson says I can see him. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you, Denise.
that's a
Yes. And what was crazy about Val was just sitting there, and it was 98 degrees that night. It was crazy, crazy humid hot. And that dude, that ghost, was like in a wool sweater, full coat. But let me tell you the backstory behind that. So we shared it with the people who maintain that cemetery. Okay,
right.
and they actually found a spot in the cemetery where this picture was taken. And when you see the guy looking down, you saw a woman with two daughters. It was his wife and kids.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I know there's some people that um frown upon doing investigations in cemeteries. Um
I don't.
I I don't either. Um, I don't understand necessarily why there's certain spirits that hang out at the cemetery and other ones don't. But I know that I love investigating cemeteries, old pioneer cemeteries. I
Yep.
really enjoy being in cemeteries, and
Well, a lot of your cemeteries out there, what out of respect for the families in that person,
yeah,
that we shoot behind the headstone, we don't
yeah,
show names. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, it may
Um,
not even be that person. We don't know
right. But
either.
think about it like this, and this is what I love about cemeteries, Carrie. I've been dead for over 100 years. Okay, and the only place I know where to go right now is my cemetery, which is my home, is my gravesite, right? So I'm standing there, doing what I do as a ghost, whatever. And then one night I see um, people come and visit the cemetery, and they got flashlights and they got these bright lights flashing off and on, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, they can hear me. So to me, when I investigate a cemetery, I'm actually visiting spirits don't no longer get spirit that has that does not get any more family come visit them. Hey Jenny, good to see you, buddy.
Hi, Jenny. So I don't necessarily think that it's disrespectful doing investigations at cemeteries. The cemeteries that I go to are cemeteries that literally have been forgotten about, some of them, or areas of a cemetery that have been forgotten about. And
Mhm.
I'm certainly not disrespectful when I'm there. It's asking what their stories are and if they want to talk to us. And we've had beautiful interactions
Yes.
at the various cemeteries that we've been to. And
Mhm.
to be honest, some of the cemeteries that we have found were through geocaching apps.
Oh,
Like,
really? Really? I
yeah,
never
and
done that. I never done
geocachers
that.
hiding on these, off the beaten path cemeteries. And yeah, not disrespectful when we're there at all, and not disrespectful to the people if they
Uh-uh.
interact with us.
But that's the way I look at going to a cemetery is
And
that
Jenny, I also think about too, like people go into old asylums and they don't think about that being disrespectful. And those people had mental health issues, and they're they're doing investigations there and don't think twice about it. So I don't understand where the compare like, but I'm open to that conversation.
okay, that's a very good thing that you brought up there, Miss Carrie Lynn. Um, Go ahead, fire away.
Oh
I'm
no,
ready.
saying like like people go into asylums to do investigations, and there doesn't seem to be that same conversation about is it disrespectful as when we talk about doing investigations at older cemeteries.
I don't think it is disrespectful because um, again, you had people dying these people, right? And in these mental hospitals, in these asylums, and no one is there for the spirit. Do
Yeah,
you know what
and
I mean? No
100%.
one's
I
there
think
for
that
them.
all spirits want their stories told, or
Yes,
they all want
yes,
their stories told, and
yes. Michelle Plummer, go ahead. I'm sorry. What did you
yeah,
say?
no, that's great. Michelle is wonderful. Michelle
Oh, I
is
know
saying,
she
I
is.
like
Yeah,
Shawn's perspective. They're down for some company once in a while. And I
definitely.
think though too, like when you have this little light of mind above your head, when you are empathic, intuitive, or are sensitive, and they do see that light, they gravitate to you.
Oh, yeah. Of course they do. And that, but see, here is there's what I don't like about those places. You pay an arm and a leg to go in there. Okay? Look at Eastern Penitentiary. At the time when we first started, TAPS went there, ghost hunters, whatever you want to call them. They went there. Right after they left, okay, they were charging an astronomical amount of money to do an 8-hour overnight investigation.
Right. So
And
does that cover like care and upkeep of the building, insurance?
no,
Does it cover
no,
insurance? So if
no, there's
anybody
no
like
insurance.
trips on the step, they can't come back at them.
No, there's no insurance at all. You just pay the money and you go, and it's enter at your own risk.
Interesting.
Most of the
I
places,
didn't know
yeah.
that.
Most of the stuff, the big
I just
things
sit up
that,
here in Canada.
uh,
I have not been there.
but it's anywhere you go down here that been on TV. These places are actually making money, because
Well, wouldn't they still have to pay land taxes and all that kind of
I,
stuff
I I
too?
don't get involved with all that crap, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend a ton of money. Well, back at, for instance, Eastern Penitentiary at that time, you would have to have 100 people pay $25 each.
Oh. Mm.
Think about it. And but there was
I
one
just wouldn't want
place.
to spend 100. I wouldn't want to hang out with 100 people
No,
to
no, and
do
that's
that
what.
kind of thing to begin with.
But
100
then
people at
again,
the
I
grocery
don't.
store. I changed my mind to leave. Yeah, not today.
But there is
I
one
got extra
place.
toilet paper in the closet. I don't need to go in today.
That's the truth. Now, there's one place I do enjoy going, and we went like 7 or 8 times. And it's a place down in Trimway, Ohio. And please write this down so you can Google the history behind it.
Okay,
It's
I got
it's
my pen.
called it's called Prospect Place.
I think I may have heard about it.
And what is so cool is all the monies that they get from all the people investigating there, they actually put it back into the mansion. And um, what they do is that they're taking the money and they're rebuilding the whole place like it
Oh,
was when it was
yeah,
first built. They're remodeling it back into what it was like back in 1902.
right.
Mhm.
And I know that some places do events for charity as well too. I mean, I do a lot for charity up here. Yeah,
Hmm.
less
I,
people.
I have not noticed anything about. Well, yeah, we have the big Carnegie. My friend Drake Bowman. He runs the Oakmont Paranormal Society, and
Right.
every Halloween he goes over to the Carnegie Library in Homestead, and he does a night of investigating, and all the money that he makes through that goes back into the library. So,
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
that's
there are groups out there that do that. Yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
So if you guys are just joining us, just joining in with us now, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM New Orleans. And tonight on the show, I have fellow UPRN host Shawn Kelly, host of Into the Night, on talking about investigations, being intuitive, sensitive, all those fun things.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank
So
you. I'm honored.
Michelle is just sharing royalties for the other side.
Huh?
Like
Okay.
royalties like from TV shows and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's another
Hi, Kathy
Canadian.
from Fergus, Ontario. I heard Michelle. I was on Michelle DeRoche's and Amelia Pisano's show, The Outer Realm, last week before.
Yeah,
Can't remember now. Days run into each other, and they were talking about Fergus Elora area and there being a dog man sighting in that area.
sweet, sweet,
Mhm.
sweet.
So it's something that I have to investigate. Joanne, hi. Thank you for being here from London, Ontario.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Joanne. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So just if you're bored tonight, just Google Pittsburgh Paranormal Society
Pittsburgh.
or just do Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you'll find out all about where I live at.
Go into those archives on YouTube, UFO Paranormal Radio, and watch Shawn's show, or on Facebook as well too. You can watch those archives shows, right?
Yeah.
Um, Okay, investigations.
Okay,
Steps
fire away.
before an investigation. What makes you decide to go to a place?
Okay, now it's a two-day deal, two-thing deal. Okay, at the beginning, when I first started, everybody would jump on. Somebody would email me, "Hey, let's go here and investigate. Let's go here." And I said, "Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go," without even thinking. But as time went on, I started to do residences house. Okay,
Right.
and a lot of them would be communicating to me through email, right? And being the empath that I am, okay, if I read the email and I was like, no, this ain't working, you know, um, I don't like what I'm feeling about this email, okay. So, out of the benefit of the doubt, what I would do is I would set up a walkthrough little investigation, say like on a
Mm,
Tuesday or Wednesday, and I would sit down there with the my clients, and if I think it was worth it, if I think that they weren't just pulling my leg, and then I would bring the crew in on Saturday night.
so do you feel um, people would consciously try to pull your leg or just be unaware of knowing how to discern what would potentially be a haunting and what's like pipes rattling or the weather changes so the house is expanding, contracting, or you know
Consciously, consciously,
consciously trying to do.
yes.
Mm.
Yes, and then there's a lot of people out there too, in my experience, and God bless them. They want 15 minutes of fame. Okay,
Oh,
and we ran into a lot of that. But I would
thank you.
investigate, and we'd set up the equipment. And at the beginning of time when I started the investigations, I really, really wasn't honest with the people. To be honest, I was doing a little bit of white lies. You know what I mean, just to make them feel good, stuff. But as time went on, and I'm getting a lot of bull crap people sending me emails, I'm like, all you want to do is bring us over here, okay? And you just want clarification for what
Yeah. Could you
they.
limit like how many you're able to do within a year and then that sort of weeds out a whole bunch right off the hop and,
Oh
just
no, no, no,
you were just
no.
busy. Wow.
I was just busy. I mean, it was crazy. At the beginning, when we started doing houses, it started in March of 2006, and then come October 2006, we did our first investigation at a client's house, and it just took off from there. It was like 2, 3 a week investigations. All right, because at that time, TAPS has only been on TV for maybe a year now. Okay,
Right.
and what I'm really grateful about TAPS now, the way they went by doing their investigations on TV, I knew it was all about TV and stuff. But what they did was they gave the opportunity for people to open up
Yeah.
and tell people about the experiences that they are having in their houses
Yeah.
without people ridiculing them.
Yeah. They certainly opened the conversation up
Yes,
for
and
sure. They opened up the
and
conversation.
that's why I do believe at that time I was getting all kinds of
Yeah.
people wanting to come. And you know what, Carrie Lynn, that was okay because
Yeah.
I had the air that they needed to hear. Let them talk about it and just be on an investigation and see whatever we can find.
Did you have a checklist of questions to
I
ask the families as well too? No?
no, no.
You didn't
Um,
discern whether there was, addictions or I mean, as an empath, you would have picked that up anyway, but sometimes asking the questions where there's a
well,
verbal
see,
conversation, so there's more accountability on a client part as well too, and acknowledging if there's mental health addictions,
I'm,
abuses.
I'm not a doctor, so I can get
Yeah.
in trouble for asking that question. I know a
Really
guy in another group. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I
interesting.
It's called the HIPAA thing. I am not allowed to ask anybody if they're on medications or not. You know what I mean? But
All those things can affect something in a
right.
house.
Oh, exactly. But what I'm saying is, I look, and when I do my investigation, I look around in the rooms and
Yeah.
see what kind of books they have, what their decor is all about. You know what I mean? Try to get a feel from seeing what's inside their house. But I never, ever, ever would ask them, if they were on some
Did you
type of
pick up on
medicine.
stuff like that? As a
Oh yeah,
hairstylist, we still have to ask if people are on medications because if you're wanting chemical like
all right.
service and you're on medication, that stuff affects it.
Oh, absolutely. No, no, never did. Um,
Julie's asking, she said, I'm sorry if you covered this. I had to step away with my kids, but what was your favorite investigation and why?
okay,
Is it hard to choose a favorite?
kind of, but I have two. And my very best investigation ever was when I was in Gettysburg. There was a bridge down there, and you cannot. There's a ghost. My blinds are moving back here. No lie, they're moving. And so
Did they
you
just do
can,
it again? I just heard it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So there's a place called Sachs Covered Bridge up there, SACHS Covered Bridge, and it is haunted by three Confederate soldiers who were hung by the Confederate Army due to, they ran away. They didn't fight their war. They were called deserters. Okay,
Mm.
and so I'm on the bridge because it's a hot spot to go up here, Sachs Bridge, and I got this real sharp pain in the middle of my back. There was a mark about that big. A damn soldier like kind of like stuck me with a knife or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It hurt. It hurt so bad. And to be honest with you, everybody, whenever you do get pinched or if you get scratched, I've been scratched many a times, or something like from the spirit world, that really drains the hell out of you for at least 3 or 4 days. It really
Mhm.
does. Um,
Mhm.
and so when that was my best one ever. I mean, because, and the funny thing is, I never called it out. You know what I mean? I never called him like calling him every name in the book. And that's one of my
I
biggest pet.
still I agree.
It's one of my
Sorry.
biggest pet peeves when I see people go into an investigation, okay, and they say, if you're here, show us you're here. If not, you're a little wuss. You're doing this, you're doing that, and
Instigating.
you instigating. And I despise that. I went on an investigation with another group one time, and they started instigating. I just walked away. I grabbed my group and I said, let's go. I can't deal with this shit. You know,
Yeah.
one of my very good friends that has another group, he'll instigate, And I said, Drake, when you start doing it, I got to go. You know what I mean? I'm going to go.
And it is a very big thing in um who you're choosing to do investigations with and if you are in alignment with them, if you agree with the type of like what are your intentions and
Right.
how you approach investigations, all of that matters.
I mean, if you instigate, it's like me coming to your house, right? You're dead. And I call you every name in the book. How are you going to feel, Carrie Lynn?
Hmm.
How are you going to feel with me calling your name out?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's
it wouldn't be nice. It'd piss you off, right?
right. I
Okay.
feel though, like even when we have people, like when we have our guests on, like you tonight, this show is still my house. I'm
Right.
having you in my home. I'm having you on my show,
I'm
and how
honored.
I treat you is important. And the guests, or all the listeners that listen in and ask questions, they're a guest on here too. Like,
Right.
um, treating everybody with respect that is, in our home and whatever that how it's presenting in that moment. But for sure when we're doing,
Exactly.
and I think too that's why whenever I've done investigations, even when I do the seances from home, I get
Mhm.
everybody to introduce themselves,
Right.
like, hi, we're here. This is what we're doing. My one son, where he works, there's a spirit there, and he said that everybody where he works, he's a barber, that they all say good morning and good night to that spirit every day. They
Hmm.
just treat him as, they're coexisting together.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know a lot of places like here down in Pittsburgh, okay, that coexist with their own ghosts. But
Yeah.
here is the neatest thing. Now back in the early 2000s, right? People didn't want the ghosts around. They didn't want them in their house. They wanted them gone. Bum bum bum. All kinds. They wanted to get rid of them.
Did you think that's because they needed to be educated more?
Yes, exactly. They jumped. They just saw what they saw on TV, and all hell broke loose, and that's what they wanted to go. But before I retired, I would start doing clients' houses, okay, and they had no problem the spirit being in their house.
Right.
They said, okay, we want him here. We just want to know why he's here
Yeah.
and why that boy is making noises at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, can we try something? And I experimented with this. All right.
Right.
I was talking to the client and I'm saying to him, hey, let's see if we can make a deal with the spirit. Okay. And she said, what do you mean? I said, three of us will sit at the dining room table. The spirit was there because we used a low K2 meter and it was going off. And I said, dude, here's the deal. They don't care if you haunt the house from 6 a.m. up to 10 p.m. They don't care.
Yeah.
They know you exist in here.
Yeah.
But from 10 o'clock at night until 6 in the morning, you got to go away because they
Yeah.
need their sleep. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I find it does, for
It
the most
does.
part.
If you
It
sit down
does.
and talk to to a spirit, they're not dumb. They know what we're
Yeah.
talking about. They know what we're doing. Okay, so if you got a good spirit and you're on a good rapport with it, they'll
Yeah.
listen.
And a lot of times what people don't recognize either, those outbursts, those intense interactions that are happening because there's some frustration. They're doing all these subtle ways to get your attention and be seen and
Hmm.
heard, and there's no acknowledgement. So it's no different than somebody who's like about to lose their cool. All right, already.
Right.
Somebody pay attention. You're going to get my attention now, and we're going to do it the hard way.
Now here's something. Whenever there was a young couples that had ghost problems and they had little babies,
Mm.
um, the spirits that would watch over the little babies would be their great 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 grandmas and their great 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 grandpas, right?
Yeah.
And whenever they would call us into the house because this is happening, first question out of my mouth is, "Are you two fighting?"
Mm.
And they say, "Well, we're having a misunderstanding." I said, "Are you fighting? Are you yelling? Are you screaming?" Well, yeah. I said, "Are you paying attention to your baby?" No. I think you better start because great 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 grandma is going to start kicking your ass.
Yeah.
That's why all this shit was happening because
Mm.
they great 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 grandma knew if she would cause some crap, okay, that eventually they would get a hold of me and I'd sit down and talk to them. And a lot of couples they quit arguing, and there
Yeah.
was no more stuff like that. So the spirits aren't dumb. They know how to communicate. They know what to do to get me there.
So that's another question then. I agree, spirits do know how to get you there. And have you, um, when I see spirits when I'm out in public, I don't necessarily acknowledge it. In my head, I'm always like, if you are meant if I'm meant to deliver the message that you're needing, that person will find me in another way. Because right
Hmm.
now I'm just, buying my bucket at the hardware store. I am not currently on. I am not currently, working. And if you need that message passed, they'll find me in another way. And they do. Like it will eventually play out the way that it needs to, or they'll find
Exactly.
a different person. So, they do listen.
Absolutely, they do. They do.
Mhm.
Do you believe in angels?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay, good. Do you know there are angels on earth?
Yeah.
Okay, that are human form.
Earth angels.
You call them earth angels?
Yeah.
I would like to share the story with you if it's okay.
For sure.
Okay. So it was around Christmas time, and I go to my favorite restaurant up here in Dormont. And so this was at the time when you could not smoke in there. And so I stepped outside and I was smoking a cigarette, and this guy dressed up in raggedy clothes, having shane. He asked me for $5 and a cigarette, and I gave him the cigarette. I said, "Yeah, sure, here." He said, "I need this spot. If I really need it so I can get something to eat and a cup of coffee." I said, "Sure, not a problem." I gave him the $5, so he went back in. He thanked me, and so what happened was he left after he ate, and I never saw that man again. Never saw that man again. Okay. No one knew who he was. No one ever saw him. And from that time, for about 6 to 8 months, everything went right in my life. And I was just thinking, because that was a spirit. That was an earth angel.
Mm-hmm.
Honest to God, it was an earth angel. And
Mm-hmm.
I've ran into them, a lot of them, you know what I mean? People who I might meet for 30 seconds. But in that 30 seconds, I get this feeling of love, of peace, of kindness. And I just had to share that with you.
Well, thank you for sharing. And
Okay.
it's inspiring for other people to be aware of the small interactions that happen, right? And having gratitude for those and how it ripples out. Because
Yes.
you're helping other people as well too. So then that comes, back around to you.
I
You said
believe
that you
that.
had two stories that were your favorite, two investigations that were your
Okay.
favorite. You shared one.
The second one was when they were down at Prospect Place. Okay. And there was a ghost down there. Her name is Constance. Right. And she was like 24, 25 years old when she passed away down there. She didn't get killed. She died because there was like some kind of disease going on down, and people were dying left and right. And so the first time we went down there, I kept hearing the word, "My name's Constance, my name's Constance." And so I looked it up and I asked the historian down there, I said, "Who's Constance?" And she explained to me who it was. Long story short, okay, that was my best buddy. Whenever I would go down and investigate, she would not leave my side. Okay, it was crazy, and I could tell. I don't know how you can feel about spirits, but there are certain parts of my body that I know that something's touching it.
Oh,
That
it
it's a
feels like
certain,
fingers, literal
yeah,
fingers when they hold my hand.
everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere, ever. Like, well, with Constance, she would touch my head like this, and I knew it was Constance, right? And she even followed me home one time because she just didn't want me to leave. You know what I mean? But me and her had to settle. We had a little agreement, but every time I went down there, she was there. And she made it the investigation a lot more relaxed. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
I agree that they can warm up to us and become friends with us if we're
Yes, they can.
consistently going to one particular place that,
Hmm.
they
Now
and the exact opposite, they can clam up and not want to engage if they are not wanting or not liking how people are investigating or talking. They can
mhm.
give you nothing.
and she just would not leave my side. And I guess her time with me was done because I don't see her or hear her anymore. Do you know what I mean? but I
Right.
know she exists, and that's okay. It was funny. I'd go down there, and all the other women that would go down there, she used to get jealous of them. She used to get jealous that would hang out with me on the investigations. She'd get
So
mad.
how would that manifest? Would
I was,
what kind of equipment did you have, and how would that
oh,
show up on the equipment?
oh, the women were getting their hair pulled, honey.
Oh,
They were getting smacked. No lie. And someone had some kind of like, I don't know, it's
that's
called an
interesting.
ovulus or a
Mhm.
ghost box or whatever.
Yeah.
But the one guy who was around and that happened to a girl, all of a sudden he saw on the screen the name Constance. No
Oh,
lie. I was like, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
wow.
that's true, Kathy. That's a true story. Yeah. And I just showed the girl, I said, you got to be careful around me, especially down there, because my friend Constance should be kicking your ass. Ah, Michelle.
Michelle is asking, does the name of your show have a special meaning to you into the night?
Um,
You've got a great intro.
Thank you. Thank you. You can play it if you want. Um,
You're
but
you're making an
then
assumption that I know how. That's something else I'd have to try to
you don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. All right.
I think I do.
Does the name of your show have a special meaning to? No, hon. It was just something that me and my friend came up with. I didn't know what to call my show.
It's hard coming up with a name for a show.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But my friend said, "Why don't you just go with Into the Night?" And it's been with me ever since.
Yeah,
And
it's a great name.
so that's how. Um,
And I like how you end your show.
oh, asking the mom and the
Yeah,
children and
I think
okay.
it just shows a lot of the qualities and characteristics of who you are.
Thank you. I'm blessed. Can I play my intro?
Yeah,
All right, I'll be right
it's
back, guys.
fun.
All right, do you like the ad or the intro?
Uh,
Is it? Oh, this is my ad. That was my ad. Is that the
Michelle
one
is
you
saying
want?
she likes your outro too. Like I
Oh,
like when you're telling people, um, if you want to play the outro, you can too.
you want to play the other one? All right. All right. This is the beginning of my show, guys. This is it. There we go. There we go. Thank you for that.
You're quite welcome. Um, can you tell people how you close your show?
Sure. Oh,
For
thank
those
you.
that haven't tuned into the night.
What I do when I close my show, and this is what I say, and I've been saying it for the last since I've had it 3 years. It's like, parents, if you can, please, 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 can you go to your children and give them a hug and tell them that you love them? And children, please, please, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you don't have no children, and if you don't have a husband or a wife, find somebody and give them a hug and tell them that you love them, because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, good night. See you next week.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Jennifer says you. Thank you, Jennifer. It's interesting. Thank you.
Do you have favorite equipment that you would take on investigations? I mean, you are your own tool. That's how I look at it
Yes,
as well too.
I
Like,
am, and they're just too expensive. I'm old school. Personally, me, I'll go with the K2 meter and EVP, which is digital voice recorder.
yeah,
You know.
and people can use their
Thank
cell
you,
phones
Denise.
for
Yeah,
that as well too.
right.
I like dowsing rods and bobbers as well too. The dowsing rods are really good at investigations. Just starting off,
Well,
I like
see,
how the
go ahead.
dowsing rods work.
Well, see, you can easily manipulate them, not knowing that you're manipulating them.
The dowsing rod?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me
Yes.
how.
Okay, manipulate. And if I had a pair, I'd do it for you right now.
I
But
have some in. I don't know if they're in my drawer right now. But I
but
use my dowsing rods to find my keys and glasses at least 5 times a week.
but
I am
no,
that
I
at that
didn't.
age.
I did an experiment. Okay, because I saw people using them, and I would just go like this, and I wouldn't manipulate at all. Okay, and I'd say, "Is my name Robert?" Cross for yes,
Yeah.
stay straight for no. All of a sudden they crossed because I was telling it to cross. Yes. And I said, "Is my name Shawn?" Cross for yes, straight for no. And for some reason, I manipulated it to say no.
So could you have asked it to show you what it wants as far as a yes and no, and then ask those same questions?
I could be. I don't know. Never did an experiment like that. Never. I don't trust them. I really don't. And that's my opinion.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
that's my opinion.
But that's good because you tested that equipment out for yourself to use, and that's what we would want everybody to do is test equipment out in all the different ways, right? Because it's the
Exactly.
debunk first more than prove. I
And
mean,
you can actually manipulate a pendulum.
oh, I know that you can't. I don't trust a pendulum at all, to be
Well,
honest with you.
here's what I do when I would go, if someone brought one on with me, okay, on an investigation, I'd have like a little hook. I'd put it on a little hook, and I would say, "Don't touch this," and we'll see if it works. And it never did. I said, because you can manipulate pendulums.
Yeah, the pendulums are a little bit trickier in using. Like, I mean, I love pendulums and I have lots of them, but you can use different things for a pendulum. You can use, a pendant on a necklace or a ring on a necklace, a needle on a thread. You can use all of those things as a pendulum as well too. But our body is like a battery and we have a positive side and a negative side. And if
Right.
we cross over, it affects it. If we hold it too close, our
Mm-hmm.
aura affects it. There's so many different ways that the pendulum can go sideways. So
True.
again, it works for some people when they understand all the parameters and that's their specific tool for them.
Right. Now, see, there's the other one
Don't
that they
K2 meters, can't they be affected by things too?
who?
K2 meters.
Oh no,
Not
no,
at
no,
all?
no, not at all. Yeah, your phone. If you have your phone on, it will mess with the K2 meter.
Right.
The K2 meter, if you put it, yeah, I mean, to me, it's the best piece because it picks up EMF, electromagnetic fields. And as you know, spirit is pure energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever we do a K2 session, we always put the K2 on a chair and back away, right?
Yeah.
All our phones are on airplane mode. And we'd start asking questions. And if it starts flickering, I have no doubt in my mind that I'm talking to a spirit.
Can they affect compasses as well too?
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
So would a
Yes.
compass be a good tool to try?
Yes, if you knew how to use it, okay, if you knew. And I know 3 or 4 people here in Pittsburgh that do use compasses because they know how to do it. Um, um, they're smart. You know what I mean? Thank you, Denise Mitz, for watching some episodes. Thank you, Jennifer. Um, but I'm not really big into all that kind of crap. And some of the equipment out there, that SLS camera, I'm on the rope with that.
Oh,
Um, anything equipment wise, you know what I mean?
so
I just really, I have a problem with it. And I've duked it out with, not duked it out, but, I have had many conversations with my people who are techies, as we call them.
right,
And I just I can't see it. I was taught and I was brought up and I was raised that you use this, you use these, you know what I mean? And at the time in 2006, though, um, there was a real big divide between the scientific part of the investigations and the spiritual side of the investigations.
can you talk
Uh,
about that more?
yes, I can. Um, now, when I had when I first had PPS, when I got my solid group together, I had a couple of scientific people in my group. Okay, and they would investigate it like they would with the scientists, with the equipment they had, with different type of barometers or whatever they used. Okay, and me and a couple others who were gifted spiritually. Okay, we would go that way. They would go that route. You know what I mean?
Right,
And it was always a big conflict of interest. We could never get on the same page.
right,
It's like, and then I came up with the idea. It was like, hey, listen, let me use my gift and you use your scientific stuff and see if we cannot coordinate together
yeah.
and see what we get. And, it never happened. And
I
it's
think there's
even going on to this day.
I,
To this
I
day.
Julie, I'm not sure if you're still tuning in. And if you want to chime in on the conversation, that would be great too. Um, I feel like, it's funny that you mentioned the meetup. When I moved to Guelph, Ontario, 23 years ago, oh gosh, more than 23 years ago. Oh my Lanta, it's been a long time. I used the meetup to look for investigative groups
Mm-hmm.
at the time, and said that I had these abilities and just wanted to connect. I was a single mom with small children, and needed something for myself as well too, and I would have done better or had been accepted to go into a group if I had said that I didn't have any abilities. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
different now. More groups are open to having people with intuitive gifts,
Yes.
than before. But again, I think like not necessarily social media, but television and media have opened that door for
Right.
people who are intuitive to be part of groups and make it that conversation more in the forefront.
Now, my pet peeve is that you get a lot of people who are sensitive, but they have egos about it, and they walk around like their shit don't stink. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I have a dirty mouth, but no, they walk around all like I'm the best psychic out there, and
Yeah.
I can do this, and this is what's happening. If you disagree with me, you're about to leave the group because I don't want you in here. Oh
Mhm.
hell yeah, they do that crap.
But I mean,
No.
investigators, there's still some of that even with investigators. There's
Oh
like
yeah.
I
Oh
see it as
my god.
competition and not
Yeah.
necessarily. I mean, if we're going to move into those conversations about paranormal unity,
Yeah, we are going to move into them because I think we need paranormal unity.
and what
And
does that mean to you?
what
What does paranormal unity mean to you? What would that look like? Paranormal unity.
every single paranormal group getting together to find an answer to what is happening out in the spirit world.
Uh,
Paranormal
teach
unity,
like teach each other
teach
as well,
each other, just re,
share
re,
evidence.
respect the evidence, share the evidence. Don't have one bad word for another group. to accept people as paranormal investigators, not to kick them to the curb because they're not on your so-called social status, is what you could tell. And there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of groups that do not believe in the paranormal unity. They don't want nothing to do with it. They're just so stuck on themselves with their group because they got the best uh, equipment, or else they got the best evidence, and they got this and they got that. I'm going to tell you right now, everybody. This is I'm going to tell you right now. Okay,
Thank you.
I have better pictures than you. I have better video than you. Okay, and I got better, voice K2 K voice record better than you. To me, I'm happy that you have that crap. You have that evidence, but don't just shove it into my face that you're the best paranormal investigator out there, or you have the best paranormal investigating team, because you don't. We're all
Well,
equal. We're
yeah,
all equal.
and I think being open to having conversations, like being open to having a conversation about how we approach investigations or what we can learn to do better as a community,
Mhm.
as well too. Like we can just move forward. When it
And
becomes
it's
divisive,
yay.
you get defensive really quickly, and it lowers that energy for everybody involved when
Of
you.
course it does. And then I've known people who will not go on an investigation no more because they ended up going with a group of people who treated them like shit. You don't do
Yes.
that. You don't
No,
you don't do that.
you don't.
I'm cussing, I'm sorry.
No, that's not. I just
It just
know
irates
that
me.
was my experience as well too. It
Give
was pretty
every
hurtful.
and it, and from that saying that, I'll take it to the Duda farm. Okay.
Yes. The
Okay.
Duda Farm investigation was last weekend.
Yes. And it was cold. It was wet. It was muddy, extremely muddy. I'm glad I bought some muckers
Right.
because if I would have gone in my tennis shoes, man, they would have been done. I've been cold.
Right.
But you know what? We went to the Dudas farm for an investigation, and it was an open investigation for everybody.
So if
And
anybody's wanting to know more about the Duda Farm, look in the archives of Into the Night, because you've had them on a couple of times now talking about the
yes,
property and
hmm
what they do there.
it was really cool. But here's the deal behind the whole thing. It was just me, my girl Val. I mean, she's like my sis. She's been with me ever since 2006, and my friend Eric, and we were the only three paranormal investigators there. And so we broke up in a couple groups. Val went with one, I went with another one, and we let them investigate. You know, they had their cameras. They had, they didn't have the outrageous freaking equipment out there to take. These were novice investigators that never been on an investigation. Okay,
Right.
and we took them out. We gave them like what to do, what not to do. It was the best investigation in the world, and I'll tell you why.
It's fun watching other people have an experience.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
when they all got back to the bonfire, they're all around. So, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. Me, Val, and Eric are just sitting there. We have a big smile on our face
Mhm.
because we were like them at one time.
Yeah.
Hi, Amelia. Good to see you, hon. Um,
Oh,
so,
that's not what I meant to put up.
uh,
Hi, Amelia. This is what I meant to put up.
okay.
Happy Friday, Amelia.
Happy Friday, Amelia. But no, it was a great investigation. Okay. So,
So, do you find I find when we're doing investigations, especially with people that have never been before and are open to learning, um, that energy also amps up a space. Like that
Hmm.
energy gets any spirits that may want to come out
Yep,
and
exactly.
interact more, right?
But what was crazy about the people down there, because they all worked on the farm that went on this investigation. The owners, Roy,
Right.
he does the haunted corn maze down there, and they do something special for
Yeah.
Halloween.
That was a
Uh,
great segment. Like
yeah,
for, if anybody wants to go back. And Amelia, I talked about you earlier, so I'm going to do a shout out again. Amelia co-hosts The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche on Wednesdays and Thursdays, correct? I think it's 2 nights a week.
but it's a good place. But just to watch everybody look at their phones, look at their pictures, and just watch them get excited. It was great.
And
It
it's
was
fun
great.
because we get to be part of that excitement and
Yes,
that new journey with them, right? And the
exactly.
hope is that those people are going to be able to make it bigger. That it's okay for them to get a clearer picture. It's okay for
Right,
them to get a sharper EVP. It's okay. That's the goal. That's the hope, is
right.
that each person's going to take the baton and do more.
I mean, you know that I retired
We adore
from.
you too. Both of us too. I'm speaking for you, Shawn.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, Carrie Lynn. I adore you too, Amelia. I do, but she already said it, so it's all good. But as you all know, everybody, I retired. I retired from it because it was just getting too old for me. But I want to tell everybody out there, if you need help, please do not hesitate to give me a call or write me a message, and I can
Yeah.
help you out as much as I can. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
And
time
we
to
can't we
pass
do
the
get
baton.
exactly. We do get to a place where we're just so busy with our own things. And I think I'd like to mention that too. Like, just because you may not see what we're doing doesn't mean that we're not doing something. You may
Right.
not see all the work that we're doing, but we are uh, doing our thing, right? So, and if we
Exactly.
can't, we can direct you to where the help is.
Exactly.
Which is
Exactly.
why the pair unity is so important, that we can rely on other people, because
I
everyone has a different skill set, right?
Yes, I've fought hard and long about the paranormal unity, and no matter, every group has an ego. Okay, every group has an ego. Everybody has an ego, and you just can't talk sense into them. You know what I mean? And I don't want to
I
sound.
personally feel like eventually the duality of it, those who are working with a different intention, those different
Right.
intentions, that you can feel it out, and it does. Yeah, people recognize it, and we can make different choices and create that pair unity in the way that we're wanting to. And
Hmm.
I think that's important to recognize too, that we don't have to give
Absolutely.
energy where it's not supportive.
Absolutely.
Where can people tune into you? How can they connect with you if they
I
wanted to reach out?
How you can connect with me, please go to my Facebook page, the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page. And you can like our page there, and you can, if you want to talk about it, um, please send me a message there. Again, I am on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights here on UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. The same place that Carrie Lynn is tonight. We're on from 8:10 to 9:10 on both nights. And
Thank you.
thank you for having me, honey.
Oh my gosh, it was a pleasure anytime. Anytime. I know
Seriously.
that there's so much more to talk about regarding all of this stuff, and I
Yes.
appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with me, my sweet
Oh
friend.
man, I had the best time of my life. I
Well, we're gonna have to work on that. If this was the best time of your life, we're gonna have to do this again. We're gonna have to
love you
do
too,
more.
Amelia. Love you too, honey.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you.
Okay.
I hope that you have a great weekend as well too. Thank you everybody that was participating in the chat, asking questions and making comments. You guys make the show what it is as well too. Please know that you are appreciated, and I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 107.7 and 105.3 FM New Orleans. I hope that everybody has a fabulous weekend. Next week on the show, I have fellow UPRN host Philip Siracusa from the Horsefly Chronicles coming on to talk about his journey, which is intense. It is intense.
Yes, it is.
So I hope that you guys are able to join us. Please hang out if you are listening to UPRN, because Jeffrey Pritchett is up next with his show, Church of Mavis, as well. I hope everyone has a good weekend. Take care. Good night.
Good night, everybody.